You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It is your host, Brian Fullerton, here hanging with you guys, and good morning to you. Well, hey, long story short, we are getting off the tail end of a couple snowstorms, but we have a couple more rolling through. It has been a very, very busy last 7 to 10 days here for myself, Liz, the kids, the crew. Brian's on maintenance. We got 3 full-time guys and 1 or 2 other little part-timers that kind of float around. It has been just very, very busy. A lot of decisions being made on the house, a lot of decisions being made on the barn, spending money, making money, spending money, making money, spending money. You guys know how that goes if you're in that season or phase of your life. Growth costs money. That's a fact, and we are spending a lot of money right now on a lot of things. And then also a lot of stuff in the future. There is a lot of upgrades and a lot of cool things coming down the pike for Brian's on Maintenance in 2024. A lot of changes, a lot of upgrades as we look to shift gears and to drop the hammer and go to the next level ourselves. One thing I wanted to talk about on today's podcast episode was talking about going to the next level, talking about fear, talking about anxiety, talking about doubt, or the fear of the unknown, really, is what I wanted to talk about for just a couple quick minutes here. And this really stemmed again from a coaching call. A lot of my topics or ideas come from, answering emails, answering DMs, bantering back and forth in our link membership. And this actually stemmed from a coaching call just the other day I had with an individual. Really, really good call. The dude actually bought the whole ball of wax a while back. And he's like, hey, I got to redeem that coaching call. But every time I have a couple questions, he goes, you end up putting out a YouTube video or a podcast that ends up answering the question that I had. He goes, it's just kind of timely how that worked. And I said, well, that's awesome. I said, the coaching calls out there, the one-on-one coaching calls that we do, they're just for when you get stumped. They're for when you get stuck. It's when you're like, hey, I'm kind of at a crossroads. I need to make some big decisions or some medium-sized decisions. I'm not really sure where to go, what to do next. Can you help me out? And we actually did recently raise January 1st the price of a coaching call. I'm looking to do a lot less of them, not because I don't want to talk more with folks or help them through some of those bottlenecks or tough decisions and decision making. But frankly, that's where a lot of the conversations like that can just be answered in a group sesh in Link, our new private Facebook group that we launched 2 months ago. 160 members almost here now, growing every day. A lot of the time and attention and those kind of questions, broadly speaking, unless you have some really individualized questions, can be handled in Link. So I did raise the price, in an effort to do hopefully a few less of them in 2024. Like I said at the top of the show, we are growing. We have a lot of stuff on our plate. So if I can get a couple hours back per week and answer questions, broadly speaking, in a group that handles 10, 20, 50, 100 people that might have that same question, then that's just a more effective use of my time. And if you get stumped, you can always book a coaching call. And by the way, if you get the whole ball of wax, everything that's on our website at launchpreneuracademy.com, you get a free coaching call. So that's a tremendous value there. So this question and this conversation that I want to talk about for a couple quick minutes stemmed from a coaching call just the other day. And it wasn't so much wasn't the substance of the phone call necessarily. It was again, takes us back to what I was just talking about a minute ago. The fear of the unknown, the anxiety, the lack of knowledge, the unknown, right? What do I do next? And somebody talked about on the coaching call with this gentleman, like, how do you know what's the next decision, or how do you know what to navigate next? And it was like, how do you deal with the fear of the unknown? Like, how do you deal with making a decision and not sure if it's the right one? And not only that, like, how have you, the gentleman was like, how have you learned some of these lessons along the way? And I'm like, it was an interesting question. It was an interesting dynamic. Like, one thing I just want to maybe broadly speak, really zoom out, like big level here, is like, if you had a dad or a grandpa or maybe an older brother, or maybe, maybe an elder at church or a pastor. Maybe you are part of a peer group or a mentorship group, and somebody's taking you under their wing and they're helping you. And maybe they're helping you, like, you get 85, 90% of the way there, and then they might be like, hey, you can do this or you can do that. It's really up to you. Or you take yourself 90% of the way there and you propose, 2 solutions to your mentor, and you say, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And they go, maybe go with A instead of B, or maybe go with B instead of A. And they kind of like help you get to the end. But if you don't have access to that, then you're kind of, doing your best you can to, like myself included, be a secondhand self-help junkie, self-help guru. That's all I've consumed for almost 2 decades now. From finances to health to wealth to decision-making to handling fear or anxiety or depression or burnout, how to handle finances, how to, use debt, not use debt, health, right ways to eat, right ways to exercise, wrong ways to eat, wrong ways to exercise, latest and greatest, curing your health in your body, through your gut first, mental health type stuff. I mean, it's a lot of stuff to learn in life, right? And so this gentleman was like, so how do you navigate like the fear of the unknown, like in making the right decision? And I was thinking to myself, well, it helps if you have somebody that can help you get 9 out of 10 steps down the pike and help you with maybe that last decision. But if you don't have somebody, that can just help you navigate that last road bump, last speed bump, it is an inside job. It is something that you do have to tackle. It is something that you're going to have to learn. And it is something that you're not probably currently equipped to handle everything that comes your way as you currently are. And one thing that on this conversation we're talking about, I said, and he was newer in business and he's learning entrepreneurship, came from a 9-to-5 background. And I said, well, entrepreneurship is a skill. It's not a talent. And I'm not going to go do this whole talent versus skill kind of talk or conversation right now. But it is kind of the truth. I can't dunk a basketball. Talent you're born with, skills you can learn, right? Long story short. Well, I can't dunk a basketball. I can't sing. I can't rap. I can't, race Formula One cars. I'm not very talented in a lot of different things. I sometimes still struggle and wonder, well, hey, what is my talent? People are like, oh, you're a good communicator. Or, hey, you can cast the dream. I go, maybe. I think those are still skills. So, maybe one day I'll be able to find my niche and dunk on somebody or outswim somebody. I don't really think so. So still searching for my talent. People are like, well, you're really good at connecting and, breaking down walls and making people feel comfortable or making people laugh or helping bridge the gap from point A to point B for some folks. I'm like, I'm sure maybe, but again, I still believe that's a skill set, not a talent. I wasn't born talking to people. I still, frankly, don't totally enthuse myself with having the conversation with people. So I think it's all skill sets, things I've read, studied, learned, applied, try, failed, adjust, try, fail, adjust, try, fail, adjust. And that was kind of the merit of the conversation for just a quick minute here, was if you don't have all these answers, it's okay. If you don't know what to do next, get on the horn with somebody, get on the phone with somebody, or ask a friend, or ask somebody that was maybe a little bit further down the road, or watch a YouTube video. But it's one of those things where you almost have to come to this realization that it's okay not knowing sometimes your next step. And right where you're at is okay. And if you have questions, if you have anxiety, if you have fear, or if you don't know the next step, dude, that's okay. That's part of entrepreneurship, right? There's a lot of times where I'm like, somebody will ask me a question, or I don't know if it may be like a spouse, kind of situation. One of you guys ask each other something and they go, dude, I don't know. And they go, what do you mean you don't know? And you're like, well, I don't know. We've never got this far in life. We've never navigated this problem, this thing, this quest, this adventure, this far, this place, this thing. I don't know. Frankly, there's nobody that I really know that I could ask. And of course, there are people asking you to ask, people that are further along in life than you. But for the most part, a lot of us are learning as we go. And that's okay to know, and that's okay to hopefully understand. If you don't know what it takes to hire a good, and this is kind of the merit of the conversation here as well. He's like, well, I don't know what I need in a good CPA. What am I looking for with a bookkeeper? Practical real-time questions. A lot of us are going through these end of year questions, beginning of spring questions, a bookkeeper, a payroll company, a CPA. And he said, well, I just don't know. And I said, right, you're not going to. I said, frankly, you're not going to for a year or two, a couple years. Again, he's new in business. I said, and then eventually you'll finally get some reps, under your belt, the lingo, the language, understanding a little bit more. You'll get that under not your comfort zone, right? Something that I heard somebody coin a long time ago was your familiar zone. It's not like you're comfortable with certain things. You just become familiar with them, right? Like you're mowing grass and you shoot a rock through a door wall, and the first time you're like, oh my God, you're petrified. I'm going to lose my business, lose my shirt, lose my everything. And then, you get one or two done. You call the customer, you apologize. You call a glass company. They say, hey, is it an emergency? Do we need to run out there and put plywood up? Or is it something that can wait? No, it's just spider vein shattered, but definitely needs to get fixed pretty quickly. Okay, no problem. We'll send somebody over to tape it off. Or is the customer home? No, they're not home. Nobody's really using the home. They're gone for 3 days, thankfully. Okay, cool, no problem. We'll get emergency glass ordered. We'll have it in 3 days. We'll repair it, $1,200. You call your insurance agent if it's worth it, so on and so forth. And you call the customer back, hey, no problem, we got it. Can we get access to the house? No problem. Here's the garage code, blah, 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 blah. They're not even home. They take care of it. Boom. The 4 days that they happen to be gone, you lucked out. The door's fixed. The window's fixed. Nobody cares. Life moves on. And you're just like, hey, this was not that big of a deal. And you do that 1, 2, 5, 10, 20 times, or, however many times you have to call on a busted window, or a customer complaint, or you missed a spot, or something didn't get done. You forgot to plow somebody's driveway. They didn't make the route sheet, so on and so forth. And you just learn that, what? It's okay. Mistakes happen. We didn't know. We're still learning. My bad, right? And you start getting familiar. You start getting these reps. And it's almost like you can't know until you do. Right? I mean, it's kind of, wow, groundbreaking wisdom, Fullerton. But you can't know until you start doing. You can read about it. I guess that helps. You can learn about it, study it, listen to a podcast, or watch a YouTube video. Like, that helps. You can read a book. That helps. But until you go through it, you don't really know. So we're talking about, how to navigate hiring a payroll company, a bookkeeper, and a payroll company. And I talk about this in the book, 0 to 100K. I mean, the book that we launched last spring sold hundreds of copies. Super happy with it. I mean, it's making a difference out there. It's like 85, 90 pages, a very easy read. But what I will tell you is that we talk about a couple different things to look for in a bookkeeper, a payroll company, and a CPA. But as you continue to work with those folks and you level up and you grow your skill set, right? Now you're understanding the language of business. You're understanding this topic, or you're understanding that topic. And again, that's a skill set, not a talent. And then as your company continues to grow, and maybe this was kind of my situation for a little bit, praise the Lord, based on networking with some great friends and some great things and some stuff that I was learning and reading and digesting. I'm like, I think some people on my team I've outgrown. I don't mean that in a prideful or ego way, but it was like you start asking questions back and forth and you realize the wavelength that you're on, they're not on anymore. But you start asking some people questions, some tough questions, some hardball questions, some not beat around the bush questions. And they go, I don't, and you get too many of, I don't know, or I don't do it that way, or we don't really do that here, or I just don't think that's the right thing, or that's a little aggressive, or, we like to be very, conservative, or we like to, and those are fine, sometimes potentially fine, answers. There's no, I'm not putting that down, but it's just, it depends on your approach and your philosophy, what you're doing in your personal finances, your business finances, your life, so on and so forth, right? Like, you could be like a rock star, musician, and travel around the country and still stay married. And other people, if they tried to do that, they'd probably end in divorce. I'm sure there's some rock band musician guys that have been married still for 40 years and have toured the country and been on tour, 200 days a year, right? But just because somebody does, doesn't mean you can. Just because somebody does, doesn't mean you can't. Just because somebody can't, doesn't mean you can. And just because somebody can't, doesn't mean you can't either, right? It's like the 4 windows of your life, right? So to go back full circle, right? Let's take this back to the top. The fear of the unknown, anxiety, I'm not sure what's the right decision. Bro, like, that's life. You're not going to know, right? Imagine like you're cruising down the Oregon Trail way back in the day. Some of you are privy to playing the Oregon Trail. This is like 8-bit game on like the first PCs that were available in like public schools. Talking like circa what? 1995, 1994, 96. I don't even know. I was in middle school. Lord knows what age group I was at. 94, 93, 94, 95, 96. And, you'd run on the Oregon Trail and it was like, dude, you're going west. Okay. You have no idea what's out there. Right. And you would zip around and somebody would buy bullets. Other people would buy this. Other people would buy food. And then you could trade your other little traveler people. And by the way, this is like 30 years ago, bro. So I'm trying to take it back from memory. But some people would buy bullets. I remember always buying a bunch of bullets. I don't know why. You'd cruise west on the Oregon Trail and you like have to fight creatures, I think. You had to hunt bears. Somebody would always die of dysentery. Like, hey, Scott is no longer with us. He died of dysentery. And then you don't know what dysentery is because you're 7 years old and you like get to be 35 years old and you look this stuff up and you go, wow, that's an awful way to go. But when you're going on the Oregon Trail, bro, you got to realize the pilgrims, the settlers, the people going out west, the gold rush, San Francisco, if that's where the gold rush was. Like you're going out west. It's the Oregon Trail. You don't know. It's the fear of the unknown. It's anxiety. It's, I don't know what's out there, right? But like you pick this path. It's like saying, wow, the Oregon Trail is not safe. There's no predictability. It's not a paved road. It's not asphalt. There's no Holiday Inn Express along the way or a Denny's. It's like, yeah, bro, like you picked the Oregon Trail. You went west. You cast off the safety line, at the harbor and you're going into deep water. You're Columbus over here, bro, sailing the ocean blue. Like you're not supposed to have every answer. You're not going to have every answer. Again, you can listen to podcasts all day long and learn and log, right? And that's a great thing to do. So when you come up to a situation, you can like pull a case study and figure out, hey, XYZ person made a decision about XYZ problem. I have the same situation. Here's what I'm going to do too. It may work. It may not work for you, right? Like that's why we have a little disclaimer at the end of our podcast. Like, hey, what we say may or may not work for you. Because I ain't getting in trouble by some 3-letter who knows what organization because somebody did something that I suggested could work in your company, right? In today's 2024 litigious world, right? Like this is just my thoughts, ladies and gentlemen, just my thoughts.
The off-season is not a time for hibernation, but an opportunity for strategic planning and productivity. By setting clear goals, optimizing operations, investing in your team, enhancing back-end processes, and joining a supportive community, you can lay the groundwork for a successful and profitable 2024 season. With a Launchpreneur Academy Link membership, you can actually engage with other industry professionals, access valuable resources, and even find mentors who can provide fresh perspectives and ideas for your business. Learning from others' experiences is a powerful way to navigate challenges and foster growth. Get started today with your Link membership at launchpreneuracademy.com or use the link in the podcast description.
But you're not supposed to know everything. You're not going to know everything. It's impossible. Nobody knows everything. You're not omnipotent? Omnipresent? I'm not sure. One of the omnis, right? The Omni Hotel? Whatever that means. So anyway, we're talking about navigating, the Oregon Trail over here. We're talking about fear and anxiety. Like, dude, you committed to this thing. You have to realize it's going to be tough. You have to realize there's going to be cash flow problems someday. There's going to be times when you spend 20 grand in a week and you empty the bank account. There's going to be times when you have 100 grand in your checking account and you probably owe somebody 2 weeks later $20,000. It's going to ebb and flow. It's going to cost you a lot of cash to grow, right? And if you hit a good level and you want to plateau is not a bad word necessarily, right? And you want to suck profits out of the business and upgrade your lifestyle, bro, that's awesome too. But right now, like we're spending money on 2 mowers, a truck, a trailer. I want to get a roll-off, F550 switch and go or hook, system. Like, dude, we're going to spend $250,000 next year on everything that I want to do. Like, well, maybe not $250,000, but $150,000-$200,000. Like, dude, that's a lot of money. That's a nice Porsche 911, GT3. Just saying, bro. Like RS, let's go. $200,000. And the prices are coming down like left and right on those and Audi R8s especially. Let's see if you can even get allocation. That's a whole nother story. Am I there yet? No, I wish. But the point is, if you start asking questions to folks and they don't have answers, like that's when you know that you have to start drafting some people on your team, right? You don't have to do everything in your business, but you do have to, in theory and in some concept, understand what the heck is going on. And that's why you get yourself educated. That's why you learn the skill of business. Because again, I don't think business is a talent. I think business is a skill set. And that's why a lot of C students can get out. They don't have any talent. They can't play the flute like a 4.0, GPA kid. They can't dunk a basketball like the student athlete or the college, athlete or the pro, right? They can't sing. You pretty much identify that by age 5, right? But the C student can say, you know what? I cheated. In business, they call that collaboration, right? In middle school and high school, you get doxed In business, they call that a partnership, right? And it's wild. Like the stuff that you're taught not to do is actually the stuff that makes you successful. In school, if you talk during class or you talk to other people, it's frowned upon, you get in trouble. And as a society, as you get older, you talk to a stranger, like it's a bad thing. And in business, you realize, well, hey, if I share, if I collab, I ask people for help, I ask people for wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, and then I, talk to strangers about my company, my business can actually grow. It's like completely opposite, bro. Right? But these are the things that are skills, and that's why that C student can say, you know what? I can do that. I'm ambitious. I want the shortest path. I can do that. I can run a small company, pick your industry, and I can make money. Okay, so I wrote down, this was just a quick topic. Ghosts, fear, and anxiety. Like, it's a ghost. It's not real, dude. What is fear? False evidence appearing real? False evidence appearing real. Like the fear of making the wrong decision, the fear of hiring the wrong person, the fear of not going for it, right? Like, dude, what does not going for it and then losing look like? You sell off whatever you bought, your truck. You let go of an employee that didn't work out to run a division. You scale back, but then you punch back forward after you regroup. Like, what's the worst thing that can happen kind of a deal? And this isn't your permission slip. I always joke to go buy that $100,000 skid steer or whatever. But I'm just saying, like, don't let fear run your life, right? And also realize that you committed to this, whether you know it or you signed up. It's like the same thing in business. Like you didn't know what you signed up for some of the times. It's the same thing with parenting. By the way, it's the same thing being a Christian. Like you get saved, you think like, hey, Jesus loves me, which he does, and life is going to be, perfect. I wouldn't say that, right? You get saved and Satan hates you even more, right? Because now he knows he's lost one to the winning team, and he's going to come after you with everything you got to challenge your newfound faith, right? Same thing with kids. I don't know if I have what it takes. Yes, you do. Hundreds of millions of people, billions of people, probably dumber and broker than you, have had kids and made it. Okay, you can have kids. You'll make it. Well, I fear I don't know if I'll be a good parent. You will. You'll figure it out. It's something you figure out along the way. Parenting along the way. You figure that out along the way. Marriage. I don't know if I can be married. I don't know if I want to commit to this girl, or if I don't want to commit to this guy. Fear. I promise you. And I actually had a lot of that. I don't know if I wanted to commit to somebody because I was like, I'm going to build an empire. And I ain't losing half, if you know what I'm saying. And I will tell you, you can do it. You can make it. You can have a fun marriage, a successful marriage, and you can marry that spouse and not be afraid of losing half. Okay. If you lose half, guess what? You still have half, and you can take that half and go back to 100, 150, 200%. Because now you know something better. Okay. You learn better, know better, do better. Stop living in fear. Okay. A mortgage. You're like, I don't know if I want to take out a mortgage. Why? You're paying rent. You can do it. You can take out a mortgage at the right time. Talked about this more recently on a podcast, Why Liz and I Rent. Like, I don't know if I can take out a mortgage. Sure you can. You can do it. You can figure it out. What makes you so confident? My ability to perform. And also, if I get smoked, my ability to not be here, my income still perform because of passive income or assets or things that I've built along the way. Same things that you guys are doing too. If I get smoked, Liz should be able to take our CRM and deploy the guys and do invoicing. It's not that hard. She can keep the social media business going, at least what I have out there, because 97% of the content that I create always has been evergreen in nature. Always. Right? I don't do vlogs. I do one vlog a month. Like day in the life. What are we doing today? Nobody cares what I'm doing today 5 years from now, so why even make a video on it? Right? All my content. 7 best tips to buying a lawnmower. How to make a flip edge trimming grass. What's better, X-Mark versus Skag? Timeless videos, okay? Timeless passive income. Build something once, let it pay you forever. Okay, fear. And here's just the final question I'll have for you, and I'll land the plane here. How long are you going to let fear run your life? What do they say? Fear is just negative faith. Like, you still have faith believing that something bad is going to happen or something's not going to work out. People are like, I'm just not a very faith-driven person. I don't have any faith. I'm like, yes, you are. You believe in a bunch of negative crap. Why can't you just start believing in a bunch of positive crap can happen for your life too? Because positive crap would be an oxymoron. Like what? Jumbo shrimp, government worker, progressive. That's funny right there. All right. Don't let fear run your life. Everything likely that you're looking to do to win in business, more than likely, is going to be a skill set. And you know what? If you don't have that skill set, you can listen to it, read it, ask for help about it, study it. You can action step it. You're not good at public speaking, do it 100 times. I promise you'll get better at it. You're not good at hiring and firing people, do it 100 times. I promise you'll get good at it. You're like, I'm not good at speaking positive and affirmations and reading my goal card out loud, do it 100 times. I promise you'll get good at it. Right? If you don't have that skill set, you can learn. It's going to take time. Right? You have to understand, you committed to going out on the Oregon Trail. Bro, it's going to be tough. There's going to be bumps. You're going to have a broken wagon wheel. You're not going to have water one day. You are going to get bit by a snake. You will get bit by a lot of snakes. It's part of life. It's part of business. You're going to get stabbed in the back. You're probably going to get stabbed in the front, in your heart. It's part of business, part of life, man. It sucks. I have experienced all of the above, and I'm sure I'll experience many, many more. And it sucks. To be honest, it sucks. I don't want that. I don't wish that upon anybody. You will have fun days in your marriage. You will have tough days in your marriage. You'll have days when you contemplate why you're even married. And you'll also contemplate days, how lucky am I to find my absolute best friend in the whole wide world? Out of 7 billion people, there's not a single person I ever wish to spend another day of my life without. Right? Like, I love this person with all my heart. Like the deepest of love and appreciation and gratefulness of somebody. Okay? You committed to going out west, bro. You committed to go and find, the deep water, finding the big fish, finding the big haul. And you know what? Sometimes when you go out west, if you ever go to Antarctica or certain places, right, they call it the P.N.R, point of no return. Like, bro, you have to keep going. You have to see it through. P.N.R means you have enough resources to get to your destination, but not enough resources to go back to where you were. And I would just tell you guys, you cast it off the ropes, you set sail west, you're going off the Oregon Trail, you're going to Columbus to see the ocean blue, dude, leaving England or whatever, okay? Commit. Winter might be tough. Like, I don't have any money. How long? And you're saying to yourself, I can't continue to do this. Every winter here forward doesn't have to be like this winter or last winter. Learn, study, ask other guys that are prospering or at least staying average or, equal, maybe not average, but equal, or are making money and progressing through winter. Ask them what they're doing to succeed through winter. We're not going anywhere through winter. Business is good right now through winter. We're making way more money this year over last year in winter with a pretty crummy start to the winter, good last 10 days, but a pretty good start to winter. We're growing in a less good winter so far. Okay. Ask me, ask somebody. Like, well, Fullerton, your coaching calls are expensive. Link isn't. Link is $29 a month. Get in there. Hey, what are you guys doing for winter income? How have you guys structured your snow contracts? How are you guys structuring your business? What are you doing to put some money away through the fall and summer and fall to make sure that you have a nest egg for winter? Bro, these are questions that you can freely ask. I mean, it's wild. Okay, that's where I'm going to leave it. Ghosts, fear, anxiety, like ghosts, poverty, criticism, ill health, liberty, old age, death, the 6 ghosts of fear. Think and Grow Rich talks about it. Like, dude, they're just ghosts. They're not real. You've made it more up in your mind that certain things are wrong than they actually are wrong in real life. You've talked yourself completely out of it, out of the new truck, out of the new plow. And then you know what? You go, man, I'm so glad we had a light winter. I'm glad I didn't buy that plow. And you know what? You buy the plow and you say, you know what? I'm so glad that I was able to buy that plow. We had a light winter, but at least I have the plow, and the plow is now paid for or somewhat paid for. And we progressed now. We bought an asset and we'll be that much more ready for next fall. Bro, you talk yourself into it. You talk yourself out of it. Like, you just decide. Like, Liz and I have a statement. We probably got it from somebody else. Make a decision and make it right. Stop living in fear. How long are you going to let fear run your life? There's very little that I have to look at right now and not just go, I'm afraid because I don't know, but I don't know. I'm sure I'll figure out the answer if I ask somebody, or I'll figure out the answer if I commit. And the answer will probably reveal itself. And it'll definitely reveal itself after I have some experience of been there, done that. You're like, I don't know what it's like to build a larger home that's a little bit more expensive. People are like, how are you comfortable with a larger mortgage? I go, well, I have the money for it now. I'm sure I'm going to continue to grow my business. I don't know. Let me get 6 months under my belt and I'll let you know how it goes. Well, that's bold. That takes a lot of faith. Not really. A lot of faith would be building a home 4 times the size that I'm doing. I'm exercising a little bit of faith because I'm like you guys. I like to stick my big toe in before I try something. And you look at these younger kids that are growing $1 million companies by the time they're 18, 19, 20. They have so little fear, so much faith, and they have the ability to just go for it. Of course, based on a lot of life circumstances too, but they're just faith-filled little dudes and girls running around, crushing it. And I commend them for it. It's awesome. And you get 35, 30, 40 mortgage with 2 kids. You go, I don't know. Of course, you have to be more calculated. But don't you ever justify something being more calculated with you having ye of so little faith that you cannot get something done. Like, don't masquerade, your fear as being calculated. That's not the same thing, bro. Okay? Like, don't cut yourself short. Right? Like, believe in yourself. When's the last time you believed in your ability to win, your ability to perform, your ability to go to the next level? You can. Stop the negative replay in your mind of like what you have or haven't done. Right? Get around other people telling you can do it, you can be more. Like, to me, that's the stuff that's important, okay? That's the stuff to me that's important. That's why I'm so big on conferences and events and association and XYZs, like getting around good people, a podcast. Kudos to you guys for listening in. But not dropping the hammer, going hard on my friend who we did the coaching call with. Super good call, super great guy, tons of fun, good conversation. But, this is the stuff that I want to talk a little bit more open-ended on. Because I go, I don't know about this and I don't know about that. I'm like, of course not. You don't know. Nobody's going to know when they start. Nobody does know. You're not born with it. And unfortunately, you still can't download it like the Matrix. I wish. I know Kung Fu. I wish. So you're going to have to learn. You're going to get dirty. You're going to have to get sweaty. You're going to have to get your reps in. You're going to have to study. And one thing I'll say too is, like, the more I get around people who make more than I do, who have a bigger impact than I do, or have a better marriage than I do, or have better physical fitness than I do, which is like almost everybody, right, for everything, because I'm super humble. I'm always amazed and impressed by how much they have learned, studied, put equity, sweat equity, study, right, and training into who they are and what they do. And I talked about this on a more recent podcast, the Bugatti versus the Ferrari, podcast episode. You had a lot of great feedback and compliments on that one. But it's like, when somebody's making $500,000, $1 million a year and somebody goes, I make 80 grand a year, but what does that guy know? I'm like, dude, it's not linear. It's not 1-to-1. Okay. You making 80, he makes 500. I will promise you that dude doesn't know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5x more than you. He knows probably 10 times more than you. He's 10 times more disciplined than you. He's paid the dues 10 times harder than you. Like, bro, inside baseball, humble the ego and learn. I am like that all the time. 1 minute I'm a loudmouth on a podcast. The next minute I get in a room, I'm shut up because I want to learn what people know. Like a Mark Brett, like a Sam Gamble, like a Caleb Bowman, like an Andy Mulder, like a Jeremiah. I want to get around these people. Like a Blake Albert, say, hey, what are you guys doing? I want to learn too. I don't care their age. Give me a break. Okay. All right. That's what I got for you guys in today's podcast episode. I know it's a little bit kind of zigzagging and a little 5-pointed start here, going up, down, left, right, and across. But don't let fear run your life. Easy to say, harder to do. No doubt about it. False evidence appearing real. Don't let fear run your life. It's not going to be easy. But you can do it. And here's the last thing I always love to tell you. It is so, so worth it. All right. See you through. Love you guys. We'll catch up with you on the next one.
Before you turn off the podcast, there are 2 things that we believe you will be highly interested in. First, if you're looking to stay up to date with the latest trends and insights in the world of lawn care, then you'll want to subscribe to our free email newsletter. It shows up in your inbox 3 times a week and includes a Monday motivational to kick off your week, a Wednesday what's new to keep you informed, and a Friday weekly recap of all the content we put out. The second thing is we have just launched Lawntrepreneur Academy Link. Now you can be a part of an exclusive community that links you to those who can help you grow in your lawn care business. Joining Lawntrepreneur Link will give you the tools that you need to stay accountable, get real-time expert advice, and find belonging in a community of folks who are passionate about the lawn care industry just like you. Visit L'EntrepreneurAcademy.com to learn how Link membership gives you unique access to monthly hangouts, bidding hour calls, coaching calls, expert lessons, and more. Stay ahead of the curve and level up your business with a membership to the L'Entrepreneur Academy link. Find an easy-to-use link in the podcast description.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
This has been a Brian Fullerton and Mr. Producer production.